weather is perfect in South Carolina. The fans are ready. The NASCAR Winston Cup drivers have a monumental challenge ahead of them on this Sunday afternoon. The word to best describe Darlington is speed. 1957, a blistering 115 miles per hour. By 68, the pace was up to 148. And now in 1995, for the first time, a lap over 170. Last year, an abrasive track surface caused excessive tire wear. Pit stops were frequent simply because tires wouldn't last very long. The particles of rubber clogged the grills of many of the cars, stopping the airflow, and that caused overheating problems. The Lady in Black was fast, but her odd shape and abrasive track surface caused many problems for those who tried to tame her.
But, Bob, not today. For the first time in the 45-year history of this famed Lady in Black, she has gotten a complete new facelift. Nice, brand new pavement here, and new pavement means higher speeds. In fact, 27 cars today shattered the old track record. Our pole sitter, Jeff Gordon, broke it by some 4 miles per hour. Now, the speed could be a problem. You're going to have to concentrate. You got to maintain your composure, and you're going to have to be patient. Yes, the new pavement looks very, very smooth, but many drivers here believe today the new racetrack could make this track even tougher to tame.
It's the same Darlington. It's blacker than it was, I guess.
About the only thing different is the surface. They didn't change any of the characteristics of the racetrack.
The first time I ever ran here, it was scary when you run 145, and I guess it's the same when you run 165. To me, it's not changed much at all.
It's different. Yeah, it's different than it was. I wish it wasn't repaved right now.
I'm running wide open in places that you don't run wide open in those spots, because if you do, I remember vaguely that you'll crash.
From 1968 to 1980, Darlington and the name Pearson were synonymous. David won 10 times in that period and put himself at the top of the win list. But would he like the speeds of today?
Now, that might be a little bit too fast for me. You know, you drive it the same way you did back then.
Since 1982, however, the man to beat here at Darlington has been Dale Earnhardt. He's racked up 9 wins and today could tie Pearson's mark.
And as you get a look at that black GM Goodwrench Chevrolet Monte Carlo of Dale Earnhardt, he sits back in the 23rd position, getting strapped into the car. We're just about ready to fire the engines. And Dale, you go after win number 10, trying to tie the Silver Fox. How about it?
Well, I don't know. You know, he's a tough character, and it's a tough racetrack. So we just want to get through the day. It'd be great to tie his record, but still, I've always admired David Pearson. He's taught, and I learned a lot from him. So it'd be pretty impressive to be in the same group as the David Pearson, and especially a racetrack like this, it's tough to tame.
Well, a lot of people say starting back beyond 20 can be a handicap, but not for Dale Earnhardt, Bob.
Well, we've only gotten 4 races into this season, and already 3 poles and 2 wins for this young man from Pittsboro, Indiana, Jeff Gordon. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, Jeff Gordon is on the pole, sitting in his DuPont Chevrolet, ready to roll out over 170 miles an hour. But, Jeff, that's only part of the story. Your teammates are 1, 2, 3. That's an amazing accomplishment. I'm sure you'd like to bring it home that way, and that would be your 3rd win.
Well, yeah, it sure is. I mean, it looks like the guys I'm going to have to battle are my own teammates, but, you know, that's the thing with Hendrick Motorsports. They build great race cars. They're building great engines right now, and the guys we're really having to worry about are our own people.
How about the track, Jeff? How do you like it?
It's great. I mean, it's smooth, it's fast. You know, it's got a lot more grip than it ever had before, and so that's bringing the speeds way up. Goodyear's got a great tire for us today, so, you know, I think we're going to be in good shape in all areas. We just got to respect this racetrack. You know, you got to have a lot of respect for it and respect the guys around you and hope that you're there at the end.
He's been very fortunate in his career, but this is one track where he hasn't had a lot of success. But 22,000 extra reasons to win today. That's the Unocal bonus. Back up to you, Bob.
So those are the stories, and we officially welcome you to our first NASCAR Winston Cup race of 1995, the TranSouth Financial 400 from Darlington, South Carolina. I'm Bob Jenkins, and we welcome you back as we continue our coverage of NASCAR Winston Cup racing here on ESPN. We've told you about the stories in the last few minutes and in the previous half hour. You know all about them, the top speeds that we've seen turned in here so far and the new pavement. Now, Ned Jarrett and Benny Parsons have both won at this track. So, gentlemen, the way I read it, with the new pavement and everything, we're not going to see a single yellow here today, and everything's going to go fine, right?
Wrong. Jenkins, you know better than that. This is Darlington, and I think by listening to the drivers' fans, you know that they still respect this place. At 170 miles an hour, this racetrack becomes more narrow than ever before. It's going to be tougher than ever, Ned.
Yeah, I think it will be tougher than ever, and really the track will be an equalizer. The fastest car don't always win here at Darlington. We've seen it so many times in the past. Will we see it today? Well, we don't know. But we have a big day for you here on ESPN, and Dave Despain can tell us more.
Hey, the fun starts here, okay? If you don't have a ticket, if you're not in the grandstand, the best place to watch the race is on ESPN and ESPN2. We have 35 cameras, 36 if you count Eileen's little fun saver here. If you get anything good, we want to use that on our television program. 35 cameras, including 21 on the deuce. That's where I'm headed next to do my thing. Stand by for all the excitement of TranSouth 400 coming up on 2 Networks.
ESPN Speed World is being brought to you by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years, no matter how far you go. By the more than 1,000 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics. And the cars begin to roll off the grid here at Darlington, and after a couple of warm-up laps, we'll be going green for 400 miles of racing. It's a 1.366-mile oval here at Darlington, 1,228 feet on the front stretch and the back stretch. But notice the corners. Corners 1 and 2 are banked at 25 degrees and are much tighter than turns 3 and 4, which are banked at 23 degrees. As far as the race analysis is concerned here this afternoon, we will go 293 laps. There you see Jeff Gordon's pole speed. The record for the race is 139.9. They should be pitting between laps 60 and 65, and the purse is over $1 million. The starting lineup for today's race. On the pole is Jeff Gordon at 170.833. Terry Labonte is second. And Terry had his first start here in 1979 and his first win in 1980. The second row, there's the third member of the Hendrick team.
Kenny Schrader started third alongside the first Ford off Ricky Rudd. And folks, you saw that pit win of 60-65 laps. That is for fuel, and they will be able to run that far on tires, no problem today.
How much did you win by when you won the Southern 500, Ned?
Just 14 laps. Close finish.
I don't think we'll be seeing that kind of a race here today.
And you can see the new pavement there. As the cars came off turn 4 on the inside, you can see where the old pavement started and the new pavement. There we go. We can see on the right side the light color. That's the old pavement. The pit road has not been repaved, although there's no reason to pave pit road at 35-40 miles an hour. What is the pit road speed? Probably 55?
55 miles an hour today. And speaking of pit road, there are 23 drivers that are pitting on the front stretch. The balance of the field is pitting on the back stretch.
And here you are seeing some of those now. Back in row number 13 and 14, Jeff Bodine and Michael Walter. Back in row number 14, Jimmy Spencer and Greg Sachs occupy row number 15. Steve Kinzer is in the field without having to take a provisional. Jeremy Mayfield and Billy Standridge back in row 18. We move now to those who had some problems qualifying. The provisional starters are Mast and Marcus and Wallace and Allen, 41st and 42nd. Many in-car cameras. Here's the one on Mark Martin. Now here is Ricky Rudds. We're also in the 16 car of Ted Musgrave.
Darrell Waltrip. There's a face look.
There's Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford getting ready to go. Kenny Schrader will carry a camera. He's right behind the pole center, and Michael Waltrip has a car or a camera on the top of that car. Here we go green, and the TranSouth Financial 400 about to get underway, and there's the green flag.
in turn 1.
Joe Nemechek is involved. He's up against the wall. I believe everybody else is going to get by because Joe keeps the car up against the wall in 1 and 2.
It's a tough break for Nemechek. In testing down here last week, he hit the wall with the car, and the caution flag is out.
Jeff Gordon leads them down to take the caution. Labonte second. Sterling Marlin had moved up to third. Then Schrader and Rudd as the rest of the field comes down. Nemechek limping to the pit area. Here's a replay of what happened in 1.
He gets in too high. Just gets in too high, gets the loose stuff, loses the back end of the car. The rear goes around, hits the wall, and that brings the front end hard, Ned.
And fortunately, he stays up on the wall because there were a lot of cars behind him coming at full speed, and he stayed up there. They were able to get below him, so no other car involved him.
It has been a tough early part of the season for Joe Nemechek.
That's his brake rotor that's laying on the racetrack on the backstretch. There's Chip Warren has the thing spotted. He says to the fireman, come pick up this rotor.
Here's John Kernan.
Well, as Joe Nemechek will take that hard left-hand turn, you see a lot of the damage. Yes, in fact, that was the brake rotor from his car that came off. He is headed to the garage area. We will try to catch up with him momentarily.
So Nemechek goes to the garage area. His best finish, by the way, in 1995 has been a 16th at Atlanta. They're the top 5 and the second 5. We'll be right back.
This is a piece of a brake rotor over in turn 3.
Well, a nice job by Jeff Bodine of holding off Jeff Gordon as long as he could. But Gordon has passed him and gone into the lead. And now Sterling Marlin is right on the rear bumper of that number 7 car.
We see that Jeff Gordon pulled away 3 or 4 car lengths just in 1 lap. As here comes Sterling Marlin on the inside. Oh, and he and Jeff Bodine make contact. Woo. Sterling Marlin pulled up just a little too soon. They made contact, and both of them almost spun out.
Here's Bill Weber with more on Jeff Bodine.
Well, this team is thrilled with their performance so far. From 27 to 7 in just 40 laps. They only took 2 tires on a pit stop to do that, but they could use something to lift their spirits. In the last month, they lost a couple of crewmen. They had one of the administrators leave. The other day, they had a mechanic working on their car. A wrench slipped. He had to get 5 stitches to close a gash above his right eye. But right now, they're very happy with the way they're running, and they'd like to hang on. Of course, they're at a disadvantage. They're pitting on the backstretch here at Darlington.
He continues to hang on to third at the moment, but Terry Labonte is right there now.
You see the hood on Labonte's car moving around. It's like he's got a vibration or something on that car.
Talk about Labonte. Here's a Labonte that's moving up through the pack is Bobby Labonte. He is now being shown in the 8th position. He came out of the pits in about 12th or 13th, and he has moved up through the pack.
Also here, Jeremy Mayfield, of course, in the 98, and Ward Burton in 31. There you see that Labonte started 11th, and his progress up to 8th position.
Bobby has sort of been battling the flu the last several days. Was feeling real bad yesterday, but he's doing a good job here today.
And there is Dale Jarrett, who is in 11th position after starting back in 26th. So things going well for Dale Jarrett. There are the statistics on him. Dropped back to 27th at the end of 10 laps, and then has moved up to 11th.
Had a poor qualifying effort, and as a result had to pit on the backstretch. But on that yellow flag pit stop, when everybody stopped, he picked up about 5 positions on some of those that were pitting on the front stretch. So it's not as bad as it used to now that they speed the pace car up after they drop off those pitting on the front stretch.
John Kernan is with Ricky Craven.
Ricky has won 3 of the last 4 Rookie of the Race awards, but Ricky are here in the garage area today, and they're working on the engine. Is that the problem?
Yeah, you know, we dropped the cylinder, or worse, I'm not sure. Kodiak Chevrolet team has been working so hard, and I feel bad for them. You know, they deserve better than this, but we took it on the chin today. We'll go to Bristol.
Bob?
So Craven, another victim, not necessarily of a crash, but he too is in the garage area.
No crew chief on board with that team.
Rick Wren is crew chief now on the Kodiak car. As you see Ricky Rudd, Jerry Cope. Oh my goodness, there's Ken's in the middle of a sandwich between Todd Bodine and Ken Schrader. And
An excellent decision by Steve to back out.
Yes, it was.
Here's Jerry.
And Kenny Schrader has been complaining that he has gotten a vibration in the Budweiser Chevrolet that's gotten considerably worse. That's why he has backed out and has now dropped out of the top 10 and running back in 14th position. He rides high on the racetrack, and you see Todd Bodine make a move beneath him in the car number 75, and Dick Trickle will follow him through. Kenny Schrader once again complaining of a vibration. Ken House, and we hope it's just an equalized tire and not something in the engine. Back upstairs.
All right. You know, the Hendrick cars have been complaining, Ned, of vibrations. Jeff Gordon, the both races that he's won this year, both times he complained of a vibration. And a little bit ago, I saw the hood on the 5 car really dancing around. And now it doesn't look that way. I don't know if it was air a while ago, but the hood was just dancing like it had a vibration as well.
Yeah, could have been now. Could have been the fact that it was running close to another car at that time. It could have been the air off of it that was causing that. But you're right. Jeff Gordon has definitely had the vibration problem in some races. It hasn't affected his running, or certainly not affected the winning, but it's something that you try to get a handle on, and certainly they've looked, but just haven't been able to find it.
Right behind Terry Labonte is a group of cars. Ricky Rudd leading them. Derek Cope is there, also with Bobby Labonte and Ward Burton.
That's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Looking at the back of Ricky Rudd's car, Derek Cope.
Almost a 2-second lead for Jeff Gordon over Sterling Marlin, and a 6.5-second lead over Ricky Rudd, who was running in 5th. As Rudd passes by Loy Allen in the 27 car.
And we can see that Derek Cope is caught in behind the Loy Allen car. Look as Rudd is just driving away, and they're 3 abreast behind him.
They're splitting Loy Allen as Ward goes to the outside, Bobby to the inside, and now Morgan Shepherd goes high around Loy Allen in turn 3.
And Dale Jarrett tries to get by the 98 car of Jeremy Mayfield. Well, this racetrack is so difficult when you put traffic out there. It's not easy by yourself out here on Friday. 15 cars hit the wall in practice and qualifying. 15 cars.
Yeah, the new pavement has certainly not changed her in terms of being cantankerous, because she has already claimed several victims today, and we've got 232 laps to go in this race as we show you an Autolite field summary where everyone is running at the present time.
All those cars still in the lead lap. As a matter of fact, right now there's 31 cars still in the lead lap.
Back with our live coverage here at Darlington in a moment. Jeff Gordon is leading at the moment over Sterling Marlin. Stay with us. ESPN Speed World from Darlington, South Carolina, being brought to you by Chevrolet. One car company has won more races in the history of NASCAR, genuine Chevrolet. By Firestone, America's tire since 1900. And by McDonald's. Have you had your break today? Just couldn't ask for a more beautiful day, but not for Jeremy Mayfield as he scrapes the wall in 3.
And NASCAR's looking, they still haven't thrown the caution flag. Oh, and Todd Bodine about crashes as he came off turn 4.
Nice save by Todd as he took evasive action getting around Mayfield. Now Jeremy drops to the inside of the track, and that's where he should be. No caution. So after leading and after running up front for so long, Mayfield had begun to drop back and now scrapes the wall and drives to his pit. Here's a replay.
Dale Earnhardt was trying to pass him for the last several laps. Let's see, and Mayfield just gets loose as Earnhardt comes up on him. There goes Dale Jarrett on the inside as Mayfield stays up against the wall. And
Here we see Todd Bodine. Watch Todd Bodine as he tries to turn away from Dick Trickle and about spun out.
Yep. They were all trying to dodge the slowing car of Jeremy Mayfield.
There we see trying to get the jack under the car. Bill Weber.
Well, they're changing 4 tires. Jeremy radioed into the car and just got loose on him. Now he has a question about whether or not he may have broken a brake line in that contact with the wall. They've changed the tires. Now they're going to come around and do the left side, having a little trouble with the left side front tire. To get the jack up, 2 tires go on the left side. And this is very disappointing for Jeremy Mayfield. His first ever laps led in a Winston Cup race. Now the car has stopped, and the Winston Cup officials want them to go back and look at the right front tire. There's some smoke coming out from underneath the hood on that side. They go to work on the radio, the jack going over there, and the hood's going to go up on the RCA Ford.
Closer examination needed on the RCA.
She's on fire.
Oh, we have a fire under the right front car.
The brake fluid is caught on fire. The tire's on fire. Bill, what's going on?
Well, they're kicking out the brake rotors. They've got a fire extinguisher over there. They've extinguished the flames. Now the crew looking underneath, and obviously a lengthy stop, very disappointing. Fire is out, and the day may be short for Jeremy Mayfield.
Meanwhile, back out on the racetrack, the 9th and 10th place runners are Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt.
Earnhardt had passed Dale a number of laps ago, and then here comes Dale back by Dale.
The Dale and Dale show, Ned.
Again.
Dale Jarrett moving up quickly in that Haviland Ford. Started 26th. At lap 25, he was 18th, and now is up to 9th. Bill?
Bob, about 20 laps ago, Dale radioed in that the Haviland Ford was just a tick loose. Then he called in just a couple of laps ago saying it's getting a little looser. That sent Larry McReynolds to work. They're going to add 2 pounds of air pressure to the left front tire at half around a wedge when he comes in.
We will look for that as Earnhardt, meanwhile, sneaks in on Jarrett a little bit.
And they're closing in on Morgan Shepherd, the Citgo Ford. And I got to give a call to Ward Burton, the Hardy's car. He's been able to get by Bobby Labonte and Ricky and the crash. He gets together with Kinzer, and Bobby Labonte's in-hand run is crashing in the back straightaway.
3 or 4 car crash, and still Ricky Rudd is taking hits out there. I believe there are more cars. Well, the visibility back there in the backstretch is practically 0, and a whole bunch of cars coming down, but I think that the worst of it is over.
Oh, man.
Morgan Shepherd, Dale Jarrett, and Dale Earnhardt had to really all get on the brakes and get slowed down, but they did make it through. So we're riding with Morgan there right now.
Well, Rudd's car is a mess.
Yeah, we can see the heavy steam smoke coming out of that car.
Steve Kinzer drives away. Here is a replay.
Ward Burton and Kinzer get together. Kinzer turns back across the racetrack, and Ward Burton hits Rudd and turns him directly into the wall. And we see the 18 car spinning now. He hasn't hit anything so far. I don't know how much damage that Labonte will have. He goes down to hit the wall then.
He comes awfully close. I couldn't tell if the front end got against the wall or not, Benny. But pit stops are taking place right now. Let's go to the pits and Jerry Punch.
And 3 of the top 4 cars are pitting here within a few pits of each other. You're watching the triple split. 24, 4, and 5. The 5 on the bottom of your screen, Kellogg Chevrolet, getting right side tires. Likewise, they've already put right sides on the lead car. 24 of Jeff Gordon, left side tires going on the Kodak Chevrolet of our Daytona 500. With it's going to be a race out of the pits as the 5 is still in. Here's the 24 and the 4, and it'll be Gordon first, then Marlin, and now Terry Labonte. 23.8 seconds. Labonte having a little bit of trouble with the left side tires.
Here's John Curtin in the back pits.
Derek Cope leaves his pit stall after a 4-tire change. This was a caution period that they really needed. We had noticed Derek, after running in the top 10, had started drifting backwards. His car had gotten very, very loose, so they changed 4 tires, sticker tires, and they added 1 round of fight. Let's go to the backstretch now, and Bill Weber.
Jeff Bodine has come and gone. It was 4 tires for the Exide Ford. Now they're working on the Haviland Ford. They've already added a round of wedge. The right side tires are on. The fuel is in, tightening the lug nuts on the left side. The jack is down. Dale Jarrett back trying to gain valuable position out of the pits.
Here on the front stretch, meanwhile, Bobby Labonte is in. Doesn't look like, Benny, there's any damage on that car, but he sure tore up the tires.
There's some damage on the right rear of the car. John, is there damage on the right side?
Benny, on the right side of the car, I can't see. I'm on the left side. You can see that better. But from the left side, things look all right. Jimmy Maycar's telling them the only thing Bobby mentioned on his way to pit road was that he had spun and blown the tires. I can see some of the crew members working in that left, or the right front tire, and they're pulling the sheet metal away. So it looks like sheet metal damage for Bobby Labonte as he pulls away. We'll have to check and see if maybe something like the toe end has been knocked out.
Well, he was in for over 46 seconds while they assess the damage to that. Let's take a look at this incident again, which occurred as the cars came off of corner 2.
What happened? Steve Kinzer has moved over to let these guys go by, and Ward Burton, was anxious. He wanted to get by Steve Kinzer. He goes to the inside. They make contact, and Burton hits the 10 car, knocks him in the wall. And I think the 18 there just blew some tires as he spun and trying to get back to the pits. The tires did all the damage.
Yeah, I think that was the problem with him. And as a result, Bobby Labonte lost a lap when he came in for his pit stop. Ricky Rudd thought he was through that. Wow, pretty hard licks there on the inside. He thought at one time he was through that, and then a car spun and hit him from the inside and shot him right around.
And Labonte is back on pit road as Ricky Rudd stays in his car while it is hauled back to the garage area in pitiful shape. We'll be back in just a moment to Darlington. Today here at Darlington, the Family Channel Blimp, currently in the area as part of its 95 nationwide tour dedicated to promoting the power of family by using the blimp to support charitable organizations involved with special needs of children and families. That is the view that it has over the racetrack. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, we're continuing on the front of the Hardy Chevrolet, or what's left of the front of this Chevrolet. Ward Burton has worked his way into the top 5, and Ward, a moment ago we saw some contact between you and Kinzer. What happened?
Kinzer probably thought I was up above him. Of course, he's a lap car, and we got in there side by side and coming out the corner full throttle, and I think he pulled down a little bit. I know he's trying to learn, but it's a heck of a way to go out and run the top 5, but hopefully we'll be back next week.
Well, they're going to try to fix it today. What the noise you hear in the background of the hydraulic chisels as they cut away some of the sheet metal of this Hardy Chevrolet. His chance at a victory is over, but they hope to get out and finish the race and accumulate some valuable points. Bob?
This is our 5th caution period of the day, tying a record for the most in a 400-mile race here at Darlington, established back in 1967 and last year in '94. We'll be right back. There you can see the pit summary. Almost everybody stayed the same except Kyle Petty, who's pitted on the backstretch. He went from 5th back to 13th as the green flag comes out. And we are back to racing at Darlington. Michael Waltrip, however, has moved up to 4th place.
And he changed 2 tires on that pit stop. He's pitted on the back straightaway, but he only changed 2 tires.
The 15 car Dick Trickle was 9th before the pit. Now he is 5th.
Got someone on the inside. It's LaJoy.
And the spotter told him low side. That was Morgan Shepherd coming up on the low side. And Dick Trickle now coming up there as well.
We've got more low side competition.
Stick the nose of his Ford in there. It does.
After the 16.
That means it'll be clear after the 16.
Got a bad break with a slow car.
He's right. He's trying to pass Randy LaJoy going into turn 3 and got high in the turn and couldn't get back down.
And you can see just how much these drivers depend on a spotter all throughout the race, and just how intense, as Ned Jarrett talked about in our pre-show, just how intense the job is for the spotters. For every lap, they've got to sit there and tell that driver.
We copy you, Mike. Just hang in there. You're doing good.
And not only do they tell the driver what's going on, but they give him some encouragement once in a while.
Pump that boy up.
And he is doing good after all he's been through today.
Bobby Labonte is all the way back to 17th position.
He came in, Bob. He made a pit stop, made a good pit stop, and got back out. But then the next lap had to come back in. They made a chassis adjustment on the left rear of the car, and he pulled off with the reach in it. Had to come back out to take the reach out, so that gave him bad track position.
It's Davy Jones in the 77 car.
He's in 21st position, but only a lap down.
There are 19 cars still being shown on the lead lap. Amazing after all we've been through here today.
173 laps to go.
Roy Allen, the Hooters car, the number 27 car.
Roy took a provisional to get in. Started 42nd. They are battling for position.
Davy Jones can go to Indianapolis and tell me around the toughest racetrack I've ever been on in a couple of weeks.
We're going to show you Dick Trickle's total off-time track. His second pit stop, which came on lap number 75. The total time, 37.7, reflects the time he gets off the, well, what time he starts coming into the time that he gets back on the racetrack and up to speed.
Yes.
He should be stopping again, as you can see, on lap 131.
We're looking back at Dick Trickle from Morgan Shepherd's Sitco in car.
Now, I'll be surprised if Dick Trickle stops on lap 131 because it hasn't been that long since they were in the pits. We'll see.
There we see Musgrave following Elliott down in turn 3. As Bill goes up, Musgrave will try to get under. No. Maybe he thinks that Elliott is running as fast as Musgrave needs to go.
Musgrave still looking to the inside of Bill.
Musgrave is a little quicker than Bill is right now.
I think so too.
Can't get by.
Being faster and getting around are two different things.
What they say, catching them and passing them is two different things.
Right.
Especially with a guy like Bill Elliott, has a lot of good experience here at Darlington.
He's won 5 times on this racetrack. Bill Elliott has. He's won this event twice and the Southern 500 3 times. His most recent win in this event was in 1992.
But he finally did get by Bill Elliott from McDonald's car.
So now Musgrave is 6th, Elliott is 7th.
Not going to be a hamburger today. He's not going to steal anything. He'll get everything he earns. Right? He'll earn everything he gets, I should say.
That's right.
Body camera following the cars off the second corner.
Here's a battle between the 4th and 5th place cars, the 2 Fords of Morgan Shepherd and Dick Trickle. They're following Darrell Waltrip. Darrell is a number of laps down, 3 laps down, as a matter of fact, being shown in 23rd position. He made an unscheduled pit stop, a green flag pit stop, I should say. Yeah, it was unscheduled early in the race. Went 2 laps down at that time. As you can see, Trickle pulls up right on the rear bumper of Morgan Shepherd.
I can't believe he's doing this.
We're listening to Morgan Shepherd's radio conversation.
Telling his crew and spotters, I can't believe that Darrell Waltrip isn't letting me by.
Son of a bitch is 3 laps down.
And they said he's 3 laps down. He should be able to move over and let him go by.
Is that what he said? Yeah. Couldn't hear that. Look at this. 3 abreast down the front stretch.
Somebody better back off.
Oh, and Kyle Petty went down to the apron. Good move, Kyle.
And Michael Waltrip was the guy that backed off. He still is driving the smart car.
He's driving a survival race, and it may be the best thinking.
Yeah, it's good. Very smart.
This is another spot to Derek Cope.
Cope's been running pretty doggone good today.
Yep.
Bobby Labonte still continues to run so well. He's trying to find Michael Waltrip. Can't make the pass. Here he comes alongside.
It's unbelievable that both Labonte and Wallace are both on the lead lap because they've been through a lot so far today.
Waltrip, not Wallace.
Yeah.
Waltrip. That's what you meant.
They're 12 and 13. Thank you, Vinny. It's not what I say, it's what I mean.
Exactly. And you folks, you knew what he meant.
Hang in there with him. Here's a Napa field summary. Todd Bodine now on the 30 car. $19 cars on the lead lap. John Andretti,
Brett Bodine,
15th and 16th.
Bobby Hamilton also on the lead lap.
He's 17th. Rick Mast is still on the lead lap. He's in 18th position. Might mention that Junior Johnson's fine has been upped another $5,000. He appealed and they lowered the fine, and then he appealed again, and on the second hearing he was fined another $5,000.
Yeah, they lowered it $10,000 on the first appeal.
Yeah.
And he appealed it again, and then they raised the fine.
Right. There's the interval between first and second. Dale Earnhardt is your second place driver as Jeff Gordon continues to lead, looking for his third victory of 1995. ESPN Speed World coverage from Darlington is being brought to you by cold-filtered Miller Genuine Draft, making the world a very cool place, and by Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life, and by Goodyear, #1 in tires. The TranSouth Financial 400 is being led by Jeff Gordon, being dominated by Jeff Gordon, as a matter of fact. Although Dale Earnhardt is not too far behind in second position. The 31 car is back on pit road.
And we can see the 4 just behind Jeff Gordon. The 4 car catching Earnhardt quickly. There he went. There's the 31 car, Ward Burton, coming back on the racetrack. There's Schrader, Grissom, and the 18 car. Great battle.
All of those cars on the same lap, battling for position, 9th, 10th, and 11th. Here's second, about to change as Marlin passes Earnhardt.
Now then, does that mean that Sterling Marlin is that fast all of a sudden, or does Earnhardt have a problem?
Well, Earnhardt started losing ground to Jeff Gordon, the leader. He had been running about 10 or 12 car lengths behind him, and now he's more than a second behind him. So I think Earnhardt has slowed a little bit.
Ken Schrader running in 9th position. There's 10th, Steve Grissom.
Crash over turn 3 and 4.
Darrell Waltrip is in the wall over there. We can see the damage to the rear of the Western Auto car.
Slides to a stop at the
we busted the right front tire.
Says he busted the right front tire.
How bad is it? I'll be there in just a second, and you might need to get a hammer or two. Info.
Just to maintain a little bit of a sense of humor there.
I'd say he's a great big hammer.
Maybe a torch and a welder.
I mean, I'm not being funny. I mean, this is not funny. I'm sure it's not funny to Darrell Waltrip, these guys.
No, it isn't.
The right side, so we'll work on this left side.
It is amazing that a man like that can undergo that and still maintain a bit of humor. Anyway, we're under caution again for the 9th time today. Pit road at the moment is closed. The pace car has not yet picked up. Now it does pick up the field. We made a mistake a while ago.
The car Gary ought to take to the wind tunnel.
We made a mistake when Dick
The bungee cord's at, Tom. Got pit bottom. David.
Bungee cord is just a rubber cord, piece of rubber cord that goes over and holds the hood down, holds the fenders on, whatever, along with tape. suppose you need a torch.
Yeah, they almost do. Anyway, we made a mistake and we showed you that Dick Trickle's next pit stop would come at about lap 31, 32 or whatever. But we're not too far off. It's 1:40, and here come the leaders of those on the lead lap. Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Morgan Shepherd, Trickle, Elliott, Schrader, Labonte, Cope, Andretti, and Brett Bodine.
Darrell Waltrip lost another lap.
Jerry Punch.
Triple split pit stop, somewhat of a break for Dale Earnhardt. He's on the bottom of your screen. His car had just gotten very, very loose again. He had lost second spot. Now he's on the bottom. They're thinking air pressure change as Shepherd is out. You see they're going to put a little wedge in the right rear of the 3 car. 4 car and 24 are both out. Left side tires down on Earnhardt. Here's the slowest pit stop, but they made a chassis adjustment. Let's go to John Curtin.
Jerry, what looked to be a routine 4-tire change for Morgan Shepherd resulted in that they left a ratchet. They were trying to raise the track bar, and Lynn Wood did not get the ratchet out in time. Morgan left. He's going to have to come back in, stop on pit road. So the 4th place car is going to lose a number of positions because they didn't get the ratchet out of the rear.
Yeah, actually, he had come out in 3rd place. That's
Toppy, we got to come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can see the ratchet sticking up there on the right side of the car.
And that adjustment is on the Panhard bar.
Go. Go ahead and quit making so many adjustments, eh?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at this most recent incident from Darrell Waltrip's roof cam.
Oh, wow. Whoa, was that close?
Boy, now watch Ted Musgrave.
To tell you he hit it. Man.
It has been an interesting afternoon at Darlington, and we still got quite a few laps to go. We'll be back with more in a moment. We have been racing for a lap and a half. Jeff Gordon is still up front. Randy LaJoy, who has tried on numerous times to get a lap back, at the moment is at the tail end of the lead lap, but Jeff down his neck, as are Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte. We'll watch this as Benny tells us more about that machine that Jerry told us.
Well, I don't know if I want to say more about the machine. Here we go on the outside, and here comes the 4-car on the inside. But I was talking to some of the mechanics there, and we showed just how much difference it made by putting 10 pounds of air pressure in the tire, how much stronger it made the tire. When these tires get hot, after 4 or 5 laps, they build up to 16 pounds of air pressure above what they start at cold. Wow. So you can see how much different that the tires get, and that's why the teams are trying to run the tires a little lower on air pressure to take care of the buildup.
Yep. That's amazing.
He's trying to get him, and here comes the race to the lead, and it's the 4-car. And he and Gordon make contact. And look at Labonte!
Oh my gosh, he came flying up on Gordon and got to the inside and took second.
I believe that Jeff Gordon, his spotter, Mr. Williams, said, hey, that 18 car is coming in a hurry because he was coming almost too fast to stop if Gordon had cut down a little bit there. And so, good defensive drive.
I think this is the first time in the race that Jeff has not run either first or second. He's back to 3rd.
All the way back to 3rd. Yeah. What will he do?
John Kernan has more on Bobby Labonte.
Bobby had complained that the car was, we've got to spin the 42 car. Kyle Petty sitting out there.
Bill Elliott hit him. Yep, Bill Elliott hit him. And Kyle is badly damaged in turn 3. That's too bad. They had a good run going. He was in 8th position.
And we see all the damage to the rear of the car. And Elliott's car with heavy damage to the right front.
And a fire, yeah.
Fires
on the right side.
I guess he's just trying to start the car, I guess, and the exhaust pipe, the flame is coming out the exhaust pipe. We see the...
Kyle says he got into oil in turn 3 is the reason the car went around on him.
There we see Kyle jumping out. He's trying to undo his radio that he forgot to unhook. Now he's back in unhooking all that.
All right, let's take a look on replay. He's already sideways.
And right in the middle of a pack. Those first one's got through, but here comes Elliott. He hits his right front, hits Kyle's front.
And I believe that's the only 2 cars that made contact in the spin. Here's Bill. He tries to get under him. Can't quite make it.
Davy
6
Jones.
inches a foot.
Yep.
Maybe.
Davy Jones just missed. All right, we have tied the record for number of cautions in a spring race here at Darlington. There's Kyle Petty. He's okay. Back in a moment.
At Darlington, it's year number 2 of NASCAR Shop Talk. And an F-16 heading over to Bill Elliott, our special guest.
I think I'll fly this at home this afternoon.
You'll be home in a hurry. Bill Elliott joining us on Shop Talk following today's race. Stay with us.
Ironically, Bill Elliott has just been involved in a crash with Kyle Petty that has dropped him a lap down back into 18th position. Kyle Petty continues to run back to his pit area. He's been running since he left the car in turn 3. Must be in pretty good shape.
Must be in pretty good shape.
I'd be huffing by now, wouldn't you?
He's waving to us as he goes by. Hi, Kyle.
The car is a mess.
Yeah, it is.
Once again, we'll show you what happened. A lot of drivers had reported there was oil on the racetrack, and Kyle found it.
He found it, and around he went. There he is, just losing control. The back end goes around. He comes down, and when he goes up, he's going to do some damage to the rear of the car. Now we're going to get the front. There it is, Bill Elliott.
From Michael Waltrip's in-car camera, he was right behind it.
I think fortunately for Michael, there were a couple of cars running side by side in front of him, and he had backed off to keep from running over them, and it might have let him have better control. Let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Well, Bill Elliott's getting ready to go to work. Bill has pulled it behind the wall. He has no brakes. Bill, tough day for you out there. What happened?
Well, it looks like somebody dropped oil on the racetrack, and Kyle run down in the corner and spun out. You know, it's just a situation that there's so much happening today that, you know, you don't know if it's anybody's fault or not, but it's just a tough situation. The racetrack's too fast to race on. And if you have a problem, you're in the middle of a wreck before you know it.
We've seen a lot of people back here as they take Kyle Petty's car back to the back pits. A lot of people down here in the garage area echo those same types of sentiments from Bill Elliott.
So the new pavement has done a world of good in many ways, but it's made the racetrack a lot faster, and we have seen a lot of cars crash here today because of it. They'll have to learn how to drive this track all over again. We'll be right back. The world is live today at the TranSouth Financial 400 in Darlington, South Carolina. Was there oil on the racetrack that resulted in the incident as we look at the Family Channel blimp that's hovering overhead of this racetrack? Well, here is Darrell Waltrip's roof cam. He would say, yeah, there is.
That's Chuck Bowen, I think, that went by him in the 32 car. And look at the oil at that.
Yeah, a lot of oil coming on there. So let's go to the back stretch. Bill Weber is standing by with Kyle Petty.
Kyle, oil on the racetrack.
Yeah, I saw a stream of it like the lap before, just a little bit. There was just a little bit going in one. I went high, and I kind of got away from it. And the next lap, you know, you're catching your race, and you're trying to do all you can. I got in it going in 3 down there, and it just turned around real quick. I thought I had it. After it run through it, it got sideways, and it got out, and I thought I had it. But by then, I was so high on the racetrack, I was up in the loose stuff and packed her in the wall one of them days.
You had good lap times. You were having a good run. Took you about 15, 20 laps to get your tires in.
Yeah, I'm a junk qualifier. And I hate this place, and I'll go on record as saying I went during the Busch race yesterday. I said I hate Darlington, hate Bristol too. That's coming up next week. But you know, we didn't qualify that good, but we knew once we got in a race we'd be all right. And you know, we just pick them off one at a time. And there were some good guys. I tell you, Bobby Labonte is stout right now. I look for him to give him a run up later on in the race.
Even with her new coat, you don't like the lady in black?
I've said it before. I think they ought to fill this place up with water to the outside retaining wall, dump bass in it, and have pro bass tournaments in here, and sell seats in them grandstands right there, and let people just watch them fish all day long. Be fine with me. But I'll tell you this: as bad as this place is, you could stock this thing with 1 million fish when nobody catch one.
All right, let's take a look at our Budweiser race recap. Currently, Sterling Marlin has led 9 of the first 196 laps. 11 changes for the lead, 11 caution flags for 55 laps, and we're averaging only 117 miles an hour. Those that have picked up the 5 bonus points for leading include Gordon, Mayfield, Marlin, Jeff Bodine, and Jeff Burton. Also, Jimmy Spencer and Michael Waltrip have led at least 1 lap. And now take a look at the lengthy cars out of the race. Actually, there aren't that many cars officially out of the race, but on the track we have at least 10 cars that are 50 or more laps down to the leader. So it has been a tough day, and I think if I didn't have a sheet metal shop, Benny, I'd want to own a paint store because they're going to have to repaint the whole here.
You know, Rusty Wallace was involved in the accident with Mark Martin, and right now Rusty Wallace is running 28. He's 57 laps down, but he is running 28. He has picked up 13, 14 spots since he had the accident.
And that's about 40 points.
Yep.
Right, 40 points.
All right, let's go back to green, shall we? Sterling Marlin up front with Bobby Labonte second, and Jeff Gordon is third. The crowd that gathered here early today is still here. Nobody has left. We've got a lot of laps to run. We are back to green.
And none of the leaders made a pit stop. Whoa! And Bobby Labonte gets in the 22 car, and Jeff Gordon right in front of Jeff Gordon.
Gordon gets the worst of it, I believe. Randy LaJoy, who has been up front on a restart for the last 3 or 4 times, spins right in front of Jeff.
A lot of damage on the DuPont Chevrolet. He won't win this race today.
Nope, the win streak will not go to 3, or the number of wins will not be going to 3. There is oil on the racetrack again. We are under caution.
It's oil or water from Jeff Gordon's car, and there's all the way around the racetrack.
So he could have broken an oil cooler line or
oil cooler, anything. Yeah. There we see the oil. See it on the bottom of the racetrack? Yeah. The cars are going through it now. But fortunately, they're going at a reduced rate of speed.
Here it is again.
There we see LaJoy. Sterling Marlin gets by him. And just a little touch from Bobby Labonte sends LaJoy around.
And Bobby Labonte might have touched him down just a little bit with the left side of his race car, but
he certainly didn't have the damage that Jeff Gordon had. Here it is from the blimp. Definite contact between LaJoy and Bobby Labonte, and Labonte did take a hit in the left quarter panel.
He's coming into the pits right now, and of course Jeff Gordon is the one that really took the hit. Because it spun the 22 right up into him.
Here's John Kernan in Labonte's pit.
At first, Bobby said he thought he only had cosmetic damage, and you can see as they changed the 4 tires on the car, there's a little bit of this grill screen he's out. Bobby also, just before coming on pit road, said that the steering was off about half of the turn. Now you see the crew going to work as they try to bang out that left front fender. Mr. Labonte showing some of the effects there. Let's go down to Dale Earnhardt's pit where Jerry Punch is standing by.
Well, Earnhardt did get some cosmetic damage in the left front of his Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Crew's now working. They have not changed tires. They have got some bungee cords there and trying to pull some of the sheet metal there. Just behind Earnhardt is what's left of the front end of the DuPont Chevrolet. Jeff Gordon pulled the car in. Ray Evernham and company have gone over and raised the hood. There's oil all over the inside of the engine compartment. Apparently they've either ruptured an oil line or possibly one of the areas back into the oil tank as they are now looking, but the car is not running. It is sitting on pit road, and Gordon sits very dejectedly inside the car with the window net still up. Still working on Earnhardt's car in front of him. He has not lost a lap in the pits. They're trying to get that sheet metal repaired. And Gordon, who was the dominant car here throughout most of the afternoon, is in the pits, a victim of an unfortunate accident in turn 1. We are under caution once again at Darlington, South Carolina. Back with more after this.
Flag comes out and we are racing again. We're on lap 214 of 293. So we're going to run a little over our scheduled off time at 4 o'clock Eastern time. In fact, we may run well over that now.
The way this thing's going, Bob, we don't have it right now. So Sterling Marlin is still the leader. Steve Grissom in second place. Todd Bodine is third. Derek Cope is fourth. And Michael Walker fifth.
There is a car between Marlin and Grissom. That is Jeff Bodine, who is 5 laps down in 20th position. And now he goes up the track and allows the faster cars to pass by. Here comes Todd Bodine, who is in 3rd position.
These cars that are in the top 5, in fact, all of them, excepting Sterling Marlin, are pitting on the backstretch. So that hasn't been a big disadvantage today.
The only disadvantage has been running into the wall here today. I mean, if you can survive this one, you're going to run up front.
Yep, dodging the wrecks has been the key to survival.
The Autolite Field Summary showing you where everybody is running at the moment, and we'll show you that indeed there are 16 cars on the lead lap with Morgan Shepherd, last car on the lead lap. A lot of cars have been wrecked, only a few officially out of the race. But a lot of cars are either still behind the wall or out there running with a lot of body damage. And we got another car in the wall, a big one over in 2. This is a
still
big
coming
one.
in there.
Bobby Labonte is in it, Jeff Burton is, and somebody hit the wall really hard on the inside that I did not see.
Dick Trickle is involved in it. There's his Ford. That might have been the one you didn't see, Bob, because there's a lot of damage to it.
I think there's somebody down there on the far right of the screen. Maybe not.
But there is. There's another car in the smoke.
Yeah.
There's the car. 2 cars on my body.
Okay, it's Rick Mast.
And Bobby's body is not feeling too good.
No, he isn't. He's gotten out of the car, but he is hurting.
Oh, what a tough break for all of these guys, really, that have just...
And the emergency crew is at the side of the Rick Mast car. He had not lowered the net, so he is also indicating that he is not feeling well also.
There's this pit crew running over just to make sure that he's okay.
Those on the lead lap are coming into the pits. The 29 car of Steve Grissom did not pit here on the front stretch. He's over on the back stretch. There you see Earnhardt and Schrader. And Cope is also in. John?
4 tire change underway for Derek Cope. They'll put the left side tires on. This car has had problems with getting loose on long runs. They've been making adjustments with air pressure and also with their weight jack. Now let's go down. The 4 car, I guess, is left in, and Landon Earnhardt is also leaving pit road. Schrader, along with John Andretti and Brett Bodine, heads down pit road.
And they are calling for an ambulance from here on the front stretch to go over to Rick Mast and Bobby Labonte. You see 2 ambulances there right now, and they've called for another one to leave the area here on the front stretch. Here is the replay.
Is that the 47 car?
Yeah, I believe it is. Billy Standridge.
Billy Standridge.
He's going to touch Rick Mast.
Touched him just a little bit, sent him around right in front of Bobby Labonte. Bobby tried to get slowed down, tried to spin sideways into him, and you watch those cars go down across the track. Labonte gets hit hard by... Was that Jeff Bodine?
That was Dick Trickle that hit Labonte really hard. And Rick Mast went down and caught the inside wall hard.
Yeah, almost head on. And then the car spun around and hit on the side. So Mast took a really hard shot, as did Bobby Labonte.
We'll try once more to look this way. There we see Mast going around up into the inside wall. And there comes Trickle. Boom, right in the side of Labonte's car. Jeff Burton also spins, but I don't think he ran into anyone. The Rebesta's car, I don't believe, hit anything.
now from Morgan Shepherd's roof cam.
He saw that opening and he gunned that thing in a hurry, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Dick Trickle has stopped down in 3 and 4. And we see the window net is down in the...
He's still sitting in there, but I think he's okay. Are there going to be any cars left? Here's Bill Weber.
Okay, Bob, here on the backstretch, Steve Grissom could not pit because the back pits were closed. Right now, Buddy Parrott is lobbying NASCAR for track position when he finally does pit. But Steve Grissom could not pit because the back pits were closed. They wanted to come in and make a 4-tire stop. Right now, Steve Grissom remains on the track, and the discussion continues.
We see Bobby Labonte sitting there, and the guys are waving to the ambulance, to the rescue people, come over, because Rick Mast walked away. We see Bobby Labonte around the left of your screen is Labonte sitting there talking to a couple of people.
I imagine he said, no, I don't want any medical attention. I'm okay, but just let me sit here for a while. Now he, too, is beginning to walk to the ambulance. It's a rather warm day here today, so I don't know. It's obvious, though, that neither driver is seriously injured. Both have been able to walk to the ambulance. We will be back with more from Darlington after these messages. In time, we welcome you back to Darlington, South Carolina, the TranSouth Financial 400. We have a lot of laps to go, so obviously we're going to go well over our 4 o'clock scheduled off time. Let's do some recapping of some of the incidents that we have had, not all of them. This was how Mark Martin's race ended. Rusty Wallace was also involved in that. Rusty is still out there.
And we see that Mark Martin also out there. Here's how the wreck happened on a restart. Mark Martin gets in the back of the 30 car, and Rusty Wallace comes in, and boom, Mark's car in the inside wall. Once again, Steve Kinzer and Ward Burton get together, which eliminates Ricky Rudd. The 18 car spun. He was able to continue without too much damage. But the 31 and 10 were eliminated for the day.
Matter of fact, the 18 car continued to run very well and was up in the top.
He was second.
He was second, yeah, when he was taken out in the most recent incident. Here's Ricky Rudd's in-car shot.
Well, I'll give you whiplash.
Man, I'm telling you.
All right, here going down in turn 1. The 87 car, Nemechek, this was early on in the race. This was the first caution flag, as a matter of fact.
And we knew from that point on we were in for a long afternoon, although Joe has been able also to make repairs and get back out there. Here is Greg Sachs hitting the wall. This is one of a couple of incidents that he's been involved in.
And that was simply a 1-car accident. And now watch Terry Labonte pass Jeff Bodine and then get the car loose. And Bodine goes up and watch Terry Labonte. He saved it, folks. Unbelievable.
Totally sideways and saved it.
But then the next lap, something did break on Labonte's car, and he crashed in almost the same spot coming off turn 4.
Darrell Waltrip was involved in an incident. Some of the accidents today at Darlington. The green flag is out once again. Back to racing, and Ted Musgrave is the leader of the race for the first time in 1995. Ted is at the front. Derek Cope is second. There are 3 Fords up front.
Morgan Shepherd is a third-place car as he tries to go by Jeff Bodine, is now doing it on the outside.
Well, guys, there were some concessions made on those pitting on the backstretch. Because Ted or Steve Grissom is up there in 4th position. Sure is. I don't know how the calculations were made, but they did have some adjustments, which I think they should have.
Grissom 4th, Michael Waltrip 5th, and Todd Bodine is in 6th. Here is Jerry Punch.
Well, just a moment ago before the green came back out, we had about half a dozen cars come back in on lap 225 and top off the tank. Sterling Marlin, Dale Earnhardt, Kenny Schrader, and Brett Bodine. Those cars are all in the lead lap, and they all four felt if they topped it off, they could go the distance without another pit stop here. If we didn't get another caution, that is, another pit stop for fuel. They can go all the way. Bob?
Okay, that explains then some of how they were relined up then while we were watching all of those replays when they came down and made those pit stops. And thanks, Jared, for bringing us up to date on that.
That's great. Lincoln's out the lead. We're watching from the roof cam of Ken Schrader, who is ninth.
There's still 12 cars now on the lead lap.
From the 25 car of Ken Schrader. Looking at 3, Dale Earnhardt, and the 4 car of Sterling Marlin. There's a race for 3rd place between Morgan Shepherd, the 21 single car, Steve Grissom, 29, the black and yellow Meineke Chevrolet. That's for 3rd place.
Steve Grissom's best career finish in Winston Cup was his 6th at Rockingham earlier this year, so he's having his best run. And now looks to the inside of Morgan here on the straightaway.
Can't quite make it. We heard that radio. That was a spotter getting ready.
Now Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt are both charging up on Todd Bodine.
Sterling had a notion to try on the inside going into turn 3, but decided different. Well, Earnhardt is putting the pressure on Sterling Marlin.
Sure is.
And he got turned a little bit loose as he came off that 4th corner.
With Rick Mast.
Well, Rick Mast has come out of the infield care center. Rick, are you okay?
Yeah, my neck's a little sore, but you know, they've had a lot of wrecks today, but the problem is the biggest part of a lot of them is that there's a couple lap cars or a couple cars down a lap, and we only got one groove here, and they're getting in there and running all over the place, wrecking everybody. The 47 car's been all over the racetrack. You know, I was trying to get by him down there. He run me up high, he run me low. I finally got by him. He run up in the left rear and turned me, and that started that whole wreck down there. It's just ridiculous, but you got to deal with that every week. Or not every week, but a lot of weeks you got to deal with stuff like that. It's part of it.
Well, Rick Mast is okay. Glad to report also Bobby Labonte is still being checked out. They brought him in. He was favoring his left side, Bob.
And positions being changed up front as Todd Bodine passes Morgan Shepherd. Here are Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin right behind Morgan.
Wow, Rick Mast was telling what happened over turn 2. You saw Dale Earnhardt hit by Sterling Marlin.
A 2.5-second separation between 1st and 5th. Now here's Earnhardt passing Morgan Shepherd at the end of the backstretch. Tape flapping on the Citgo Ford, showing wounds of earlier accidents today.
Well, all that racing's going on. Ted Musgrave just sitting out there with a good, comfortable lead. Right now, he is 3 3/4 of a second ahead of Dale Earnhardt.
And we see Sterling Marlin getting by Morgan Shepherd. We heard Morgan's spotter tell him on the inside.
We talked earlier about Ken Schrader and how he has had the worst year of the 3 Hendrick drivers, but he's the only survivor of this one.
And he's trying to get by Morgan Shepherd. Makes a run, going off the 2nd corner, and he does take his spot away. Puts Schrader up into 8th.
For those of you just joining us and you saw our recap, we did not show you how Jeff Gordon was taken out of the race. He was also involved in an accident that's put his car behind the wall.
As we watch this, they're trying to push Jeff. Well, they are pushing Jeff Burke's car down the pit road, trying to restart this car. Something's happened to it. He was not. He spun coming off the 2nd corner, but didn't look like he hit anything. But the car will not restart.
And he drove right to the garage area after that incident, but now it's back on pit road, but they're pushing it back again as we continue to watch the action on the racetrack. The 75 and the 3 are battling for position. Todd Bodine and Dale Earnhardt for 5th. Top 5 have never won NASCAR Winston Cup races. Only Derek Cope, who is running second, has.
Both of those wins came in the same year, 1990, won the Daytona 500, and the Budweiser 500 is over Delaware.
Walker going by Jimmy Spencer. Todd Bodine closes in on him, and Dale Earnhardt, I should say, closes in on both of them. Now we see that Dale Earnhardt is closing in on Ted Musgrave in 5 laps. Almost a second and a half. He got closer to our leader, Ted Musgrave.
All that courtesy of AutoZone, showing you the on-track interval between laps 234 and 238.
As a matter of fact, Derek Cope and Steve Grissom are closing in on Ted Musgrave, too. Ted got caught behind some lap traffic there a moment ago and really cost him a good bit of time.
And Sterling Marlin's car, the Kodak Film Chevrolet, who was so strong earlier, we saw Earnhardt pass him a moment ago and drive away from Sterling Marlin. So it looks like Sterling's car is just not handling properly right now.
There is Sterling, who has dropped back several cars behind Earnhardt. John Kernan has an update on Bobby Labonte.
Well, I just talked to his PR man, Larry Camp, and Larry just came out of the Infield Care Center from talking with Bobby, and they're observing Bobby right now. He's complaining of pain in his left shoulder. It's bruised up, is what Larry says. Of course, Bobby's suffering from the flu, dehydrated, so they're giving him some fluids, trying to rehydrate him. Right now, Bobby Labonte is being observed in there. We don't know if he's going to be transported. Larry Camp doesn't seem to think so. He thinks it's just a bruised left shoulder. Now let's go to Bill Weber.
Well, back here in the Meineke Monte Carlo pits, we're watching Steve Grissom catch the leader at about a half-second a lap. Big crash, though.
Up in turn 1, Brett Bodine and somebody else.
That's John Andretti, the Kmart car, is sitting up against the wall. There we see Brett Bodine is spun down.
Nope, it's Davy Jones.
I'm sorry, and all the Andretti people will be glad to know that was not him. The Davy Jones people will be sad to know that it is him.
Yes. Brett able to drive away the 77 car of Davy Jones, which was only a lap down in 13th position. So Davy had a pretty good run going after a disappointing qualifying effort that resulted in his starting back in 34th position. But a lot of damage to that Jesper USA Ford.
US Air
Ford, yeah.
Well, USA, yeah.
So, what's that? 15 cautions. Man. And now, Benny, you begin to wonder if we're going to get 400 miles in before it gets done.
And here's some cars going on pit road.
All the leaders.
Ted Musgrave coming in. Derek Cope. There's Earnhardt. Sterling Marlin.
Also Schrader, Shepard, and John Andretti as we watch Musgrave. Here's John Kernan.
Ted Musgrave been all the way down, pit stall number 23. Don't get much farther back than that. Right side tires already on, left side tires on, but the good news is he still is on the front straightaway. A good pit stop for Ted Musgrave. Let's go down to Earnhardt's pit.
They have changed right side tires. They're going to put a round of bike back in the rear of the car. Cope is out there. We're going to take some tape off the front of the car, but Earnhardt, 18.4 seconds. They were going to. Let's go to the back pits and Bill Weber.
Steve Grissom is in. This is a daring change. This team could go the distance, and Steve Grissom had just radioed in that the 4 tires they put on just a few laps ago were the 4 best tires he's had all day. Now he's got 4 new ones, definitely enough fuel to reach the finish. He was 6th yesterday. He's desperately trying to get out. The leaders have gone by. Grissom's on his way. Beats out Michael Waltrip.
But he's going back to about 8th or 9th position. All the cars on the front straightaway pits beat Grissom out of the pits.
All right, here's a replay of the wreck. Jones hit the wall early, and then Brett Bodine got involved.
Yeah, I did not see it, so
it's hard to say what happened. In any case, Brett, as we said, was able to drive away. However, Davy Jones is not able to, and the wrecker is there in front of the car. We're going to take another break. We have completed 245 of 293 laps in the TranSouth Financial 400. September of '92, the Family Channel Blimp has delighted thousands of tech spectators with appearances at fairs, festivals, and sporting events like this one in 90 cities and 35 states across the country. And they are hovering overhead today, providing some overhead shots. Now, that pond that Dave Despain referred to earlier today at the top right of your screen.
That ain't it.
Okay.
That's not it. Excuse me. I'm better English than that. That's not it.
Okay. But it's water.
It's a pond, and there's probably fish in it.
You didn't know what I was going to say. I was just going to say that pond there that you see has a lot of fish in it that Kyle Petty may be trying to catch right now.
While we speak, as we speak.
Guess who's leading? Dale Earnhardt.
For the first time today, as a matter of fact.
That is correct. Yep.
As Jarrett pointed out.
All right, let's check the summary and see how that happened. Musgrave was first, but comes out third. Cope from second to fifth. Grissom third to seventh. He's on the backstretch. Mike Waltrip fourth to eighth. He's on the backstretch. And Earnhardt gained 5 positions from sixth to first. Jerry?
Well, Dale Earnhardt came in and we saw his pit stop. Now, what they had talked about was putting a round of bite in the car, but I guess in the hurry to try to be able to beat the 4 car out of the pits, that's not what happened. I was calling the pit stop and said they're going to put a round of bite in the car to tighten it up, and that's not what happened. They actually took a round of bite out of the car. So now Earnhardt is 2 rounds of bite away from where he would like his car to be, which means he's probably going to be quite a bit looser than he wants to be when we go back to green flag racing.
Big smile down here for Jack Roush as he's down in Ted Musgrave's pit. They were about 20 laps short of going the distance on fuel. So as soon as that caution came out, Jack Roush did a little dance, a little jiggle up on the pit wall as they are now able to go the distance. Although they did lose 2 spots in the pits, Musgrave will be restarting this race in third.
Watching from Ted Musgrave's in-car camera, and let's watch Dale Earnhardt's pit stop, Benny, and maybe we can see what they did.
Well, they see they're putting the wrench in the right side, and they're tightening down. They're on top of the spring. Right below that is where they adjust the Panhard bar. They tighten that bolt down, or yes, turn the bolt down, and that does take wedge out of the car, just like Jerry Punch told us, and loosens the car up. And they wanted to go the other way. They wanted to loosen that bolt.
Well, we'll see how he does here when we go back to racing. Still no indication that we will do so. So we will take another break. And be back in just a moment with 248 laps completed. Dale Earnhardt is your leader now over Sterling Marlin and Ted Musgrave. Hang in there. It's coming up next. There are your top 6 qualifiers. Damon Hill, the top. Michael Schumacher has crashed at least twice in the practice and qualifying. And then you got some Ferraris back there in 5th and 6th. So stay tuned for the Grand Prix of Brazil, the opener of the Formula One season this year. Coming up next, Shop Talk. Well, stay tuned and we will have information regarding when that will be on a little bit later. This race has gone slightly beyond what we thought it would. No, it's gone well beyond what we thought it would.
And we see the front 2 cars of Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin has been able to pull away from the 16 car of Ted Musgrave. But this traffic just might help Musgrave out to catch these 2 cars.
Here's Jerry Punch with more on Sterling Marlin.
We heard Ted Musgrave report earlier. He thought that Marlin may have a valve spring broken, and we saw possibly a puff of smoke earlier out of the 4 car. Now, I've spoken with Tony Glover, Larry McClure, Ed McClure, everybody but Grandma McClure, and they have no idea that they have any engine problem. In fact, we don't know anything about it. Sterling doesn't know anything about it. In fact, we're at the lead right now, so they feel like their car is running awfully well here in the final 25 laps. Bob?
Okay, looks like it could come down to either of these two. And you'll remember how these cars raced to the checkered flag at Daytona with Sterling up front. 13 laps to go in this, with the average speed of this race 109.696 miles an hour. We've had 15 cautions period for 86 laps. That's a new record for the most laps under caution in any spring race.
Look here down the front straightaway. Sterling trying to get to the inside. Can't make it.
About scared.
And we'll watch him as they go up the backstretch, come off the turn 2 here. He is not losing anything on the straightaway at all. And here he's gaining on the straightaway, as a matter of fact. He's going to turn 3. He'll get it this time. Yep. But watch Earnhardt try to slip right back under it. No, it didn't do it that time. Sterling's kept her down, was able to keep it down, but that allowed Ted Musgrave to catch him right up to him.
So Sterling Marlin takes the lead of the TranSouth Financial 400 with 11 laps to go. Now Ted Musgrave is in third, right behind Earnhardt.
Sterling Marlin's going to check out on him here now, guys.
Earnhardt's car has went away, has gone away.
I think that loose situation that Jerry Punch talked about, the rare mistake by the Childress team, took a round to wedge out instead of put a round in it. To make a world of difference. Car on a track like this.
But you got to feel that Dale Earnhardt will still be satisfied with what he gets out of this race, because although he wants to win as many races as possible this year, you know that in the back of his mind is the 8th championship that he is on the way to at this point. There is Mike. That's Mike Wallace there.
The 90 car. And there's a race for, what's that, 4th place? Yes, it is.
Todd Bodine still on the move in the factory stores Ford, trying to move around Derek Cope.
Since his last pit stop, he has been on the move.
He really has. Apparently they made some adjustments on his Ford. He is on the go. Move Derek back to 5th. Way back behind them in 6th place is the car number 30 of Michael Walker.
Steve Grissom is running in.
Well, he's running 6th, and Michael Walker 7th.
The 47 car of Billy Standridge will register, or is on his way to registering, his best career finish ever. He was 24th here in September.
There's Lake Speedbine in the Span car.
His previous best finish 24th, and Standridge currently is in 14th position. Continuing to watch 2nd and 3rd here, Earnhardt and Musgrave. There's Kenny Trainer being lapped as you see Sterling Marlin passing him.
Trainer just went 2 laps down. He's in 11th position. Had that flat tire.
Lost a lap there.
Ted, I got a question for you.
Huh?
You know, NASCAR was going to impound a Ford, Chevrolet, and Pontiac today to take to the wind tunnel and see which car was the best. Where are they going to find one of these to take?
That's right.
That would be wind tunnel material.
Yes.
Really. I mean, because when you go to the wind tunnel, you want smooth cars. And sides and all of that. You're not going to have that. It's Ted Musgrave trying to take over 2nd position.
He got a run on him. I don't know whether he can do it or not. They touch coming off 2, and Musgrave will not make the move. We would like to thank Racing Electronics for providing the in-car radios that we have enjoyed here on ESPN and on the Deuce this afternoon. We can dial up just about any frequency we want to and talk to whomever we want to, and we have enjoyed the conversation we've had with the drivers today, and on the Deuce they've been able to hear the conversation between the drivers and their crews. We're down now to a handful of laps to go in this one.
Coming up on traffic is Earnhardt and Ted Musgrave coming off of turn 4. They get around 1 car. Now they come up on Rusty Wallace. Rusty will go and give him plenty of room, though. He's just out there making laps, and he's made a lot of laps since he came back out, made up a lot of positions.
Here's a great race for 5th spot. The 12 car, Derek Cope is 5th. There's 6th, Steve Grissom, and 7th, Michael Walker.
John Andretti is going a lap down in 10th position.
field is right there for second place with 3 laps to go.
Sterling Marlin looks like he has things under control, but the battle is for second place, and Musgrave once again has a run coming off the second corner. Just cannot.
Having running up on a lap car, he had to back off. He could not get in there at that time because there were 3 cars going slow into the turn, and that might have been enough to let Earnhardt. It did keep the position right then, but maybe for the duration of the race.
Just 2 more laps to go.
This is where Musgrave has been beating Earnhardt off the second corner. He's trying it again.
He's got it.
Now, is Earnhardt going to back off when he gets
No, sir. No, sir.
Yeah, he did. Now he's trying to drive under Musgrave. See? There it goes. Back out on the inside. That's a patented move.
Yeah.
Nobody does it better, that move, than Dale Earnhardt. Now, Ted will have to do it again, coming off the 2 over there. But the next time, you say, well, I'll slow that thing down just a little bit going into 3. Keep her down on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see if he can do it.
This is the white flag. We're on the final lap. Sterling Marlin is a half a lap away from winning the TranSouth Financial 400. We continue to watch this battle for second place.
No, I didn't get up beside him that time coming off the 2.
Nope. Marlin is in turn 3 and 4. We'll keep an eye on him. Here are Earnhardt and Musgrave going through the corner. Here is Marlin taking the checkered flag, winning the race. Let's watch the battle for second. It goes to Earnhardt by about a half a car length. Ted Musgrave third. Here's a battle. Steve Grissom finishes in 6th and Michael Waltrip 7th. And Bill Weber was with Tony Glover.
A celebration is on, and you drove those last 20 laps. I watched you. Congratulations.
Well, I always wanted to be a race car driver and never got the opportunity, but I liked riding with Sterling.
How about that? You guys won at Daytona. You come back here, a wild day. Tony, you ever seen anything like this?
I tell you, it's one of the wildest races I've ever been to in my life. And, you know, I hate Jeff Gordon had his bad luck there because, you know, it was going to be a good race between us and him. We never had really showed our hand yet, but he had an awful good race car.
Chevrolet Monte Carlo.
Well, you know, the Chevrolet Monte Carlo is a good race car, but if you look at that 16 coming in there, Ted Musgrave, he had a heck of a good race car today, too.
Sterling Marlin, Tony Glover, and the Kodak Films team celebrates today in the TranSouth 400.
Sterling Marlin was not able to back up his win at Daytona last year. He has this year. And he receives congratulations from members of various crews as he comes down and heads for victory lane. Sterling Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee wins in the Kodak Film Chevrolet. But Tony is right. Musgrave in the Ford hung in there, and Todd Bodine in another Ford had a great day. There's the 3 car of Dale Earnhardt, which finished in 2nd position.
Down at the gas pumps, getting the thing filled up. We see the NASCAR officials standing there by the car, making sure that no one tampers with it. They'll fill the car for fuel and take it back and inspect it to make sure that it meets weight and all the other rules that they have to go by. But that's basically a formality because, trust me, they will. Andy Petrie looking at the car and saying, I wonder where we missed it today.
Sterling isn't going to be able to eat into Earnhardt's points lead by very much. They both led, of course, and because of the point system, Sterling will pick up very few points. 5 as a matter of fact, Since neither of them led the most laps, that distinction went to Jeff Gordon, who, of course, was eliminated in a crash, as were several others.
Well, there's a happy guy. Taking that helmet off. Ooh. Have a sip there, Sterling. You've earned it. Let me get out of this 76.
There we go.
Tim Morgan there with the mustache.
Oh, yeah! Jerry Punch is right there.
And the celebrating continues. A big hug for crew chief Tony Glover and a big swig of Gatorade. Sterling, congratulations on a tremendous day. A survival afternoon for you.
Man, I ain't never seen nothing like it. You know, Tony, he's the best. He taught me all the way through it and be patient, and had a real good car, the Kodak Delco Badger car, and just sat there and rode when we needed to and run hard when we had to. And the car just flawless all day. They gave me great pit stops, and everything worked out great.
How close were you at times to some of the onslaughts, the melees that took place out there?
I missed every one of them. I guess it's all behind us. And one time we got some stay dry, like hit the wall off two, but we got a little loose one time, adjusted wrong, and fell back. But they adjusted the car right back and come right back to front.
Now, some of the drivers said you might have had a problem with a valve spring or something late in the race. You weren't taking off on the restarts. Was that by design?
It looks like we had the wrong ratio in the transmission. We was about 4,000 RPM. We need to be about 4,500, and we just couldn't take off.
Last year you didn't capitalize, didn't take the momentum from Daytona. This year you have. What's been the difference?
Well, you know, we've run the same as we had. I tell you, the crew's really worked hard all winter, built these new Monte Carlos, and practiced pit stops. They've been practicing pit stops all week. We got beat Atlanta a little bit, and they give me great pit stops, and, you know, the team's pumped up and fired up, and I am too, so we're going to try to win this championship.
Any questions at all in your mind that you could get Earnhardt with the final 25 laps when you went back to green?
Well, our car seemed to be the best on a long run, and I could run Gordon down a little bit, but we just couldn't go on new tires, and you know, just worked out that we didn't, you know, get a caution toward the end, and him didn't get a chance to get tires.
Sterling, congratulations.
Thank you, Jerry.
Sterling Marlin's third career win comes at the track Too Tough to Tame, the 39th annual TranSouth 500, and Sterling brings that car to victory lane for the second time here in 1995. Bob?
And he becomes the 33rd different driver to take the checkered flag in victory here at the track Too Tough to Tame. And we will be back with more from Darlington, South Carolina. And the TranSouth Financial 400 won this afternoon by Sterling Marlin. Sterling Marlin fans are celebrating here at Darlington after their driver won today. Quest for the Cup standings. Dale Earnhardt remains on top. Sterling Marlin remains second, and Mark Martin remains in third position. Derek Cope jumped 5 positions today as fourth in the points. Terry Labonte lost 1 position down to 5th. Ted Musgrave jumped 6 positions to 6th. Morgan Shepherd jumped 3 positions. Jeff Gordon lost 2. Dale Jarrett lost 4. And John Andretti jumped 5 positions. Here's Bill Weber.
Well, we're here with Dale Earnhardt. Dale, you couldn't hold Sterling off there at the end.
The car was real loose. It wasn't loose on new tires, but then it'd get looser and looser. I couldn't hold. I didn't have nothing for him. And our car, one run was real good. We just kept adjusting with it, never got the car perfect. So we didn't win. It's lucky to get second, really.
Lucky to have your car in one piece the way things were out there today.
Well, that's true. We got some bummed up left front here, but really fortunate not to have a tore up race car. And I don't know, the groove just wasn't wide. They didn't have a wide groove, and once they got dirt on the track was real treacherous up there high, and we just need a little wider racing surface, I think, for all these cars fast as they're going.
Dale, a lot of the co-favorites for the championship failed to finish today. You did. Another big step toward an 8th title.
Well, it is. Sterling's second, and he won the race. So, you know, we notch him here, notch him there. That's what we're after, just consistent finishes. We've had top 5s every race, so working hard at that. The guys did a good job spinning all the boys back to the shop. And Andy, to fix this car from, you know, we tore it up down there testing, and then it's pretty neat to come back with the same car and run second. So we're happy with it. She was in bad shape. She'll make it to Bristol now.
And that's where we're going next. Right now to John Kernan with Ted Musgrave.
Well, a career best for Ted Musgrave with a 3rd place finish. You thought you had a little something for the 4 car. Turned out he didn't have that valve spring problem after all and wound up winning.
Yeah, I turned around. I didn't think I had anything for the 3 car, but at the end I did. And just needed a few more laps. You know, he gave me the classic Earnhardt pass in the 3 and 4, and I knew that was coming. I tried to keep it down low, but I'll tell you, you know, that Roush Family Channel speed stick car, it ran good all day. You know, kept us out of trouble, and you know, want to lead some laps early on, and you know, everything fell into place. You know, we worked hard at this, and the guys made all the right decisions in the pits. So, my hat's off to the whole crew. They did an excellent job for me today.
And they worked overtime Friday, considering what happened in practice for Friday. You guys got the car put back together and ran great.
Well, you had to bring that up. You know, we just got a Darlington stripe on the left side. All it did is just scrape up the sheet metal a little bit in practice, you know, and come qualifying, I told the guys, I said, you walked awful hard, get this thing back together and looking nice. I'll take it easy, and got on the front stretch, and from there on, it was just a cruise for us, you know. Like I say, it would have been a lot different. There was a lot of accidents out there. A lot of top teams got knocked out, but our car was still strong no matter what.
All right, congratulations, Ted. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
We caught up with Todd Bodine, and Todd, from 31st to 4th, pitting on the backstretch, about half a dozen of those wrecks were right in front of you.
Yeah, it was survival of the fittest today. The racetrack was tough. One groove, it was hard to pass, but fortunately our car was real good on long runs. The longer we'd run, the better we'd get, and everybody'd back up to us, and that was our strong suit. You know, I passed a couple there at the end to get some spots, but the factory stores forward, they ran great. We struggled in practice. We made some changes this morning, and they really worked, and you know, fortunately I like Darlington, and we ran good.
And you're also going to a track next week you like even more. That's Bristol.
Yeah, I love Bristol. We got 2 wins in the Busch car. We finished 4th last fall there in the Cup car, so I'm looking forward to it. And this win here, or this 4th place here, my wife's birthday's tomorrow. I'm going to go buy her a good present.
Okay, happy birthday to Lynn behind us, and he finishes 4th today. And Bill Weber is caught up with a fellow who rounds out the top 5, Derek Cope. Bill?
Derek, a great run for you today.
Well, thanks. You know, we're just delighted for Straight Arrow and Hill South and Danko Copiers because, you know, we've been battling this thing, you know, and we had a little trouble today. The car wasn't right early, and we just, you know, I got to give my hats off to the guys because they worked so hard and just kept coming in, making changes, and they got the car where I could drive it. And then we got some good track position and, you know, made a run at it.
Well, track position because a lot of guys were kind of like in the garage looking for sheet metal out there.
Well, it was an awful tough race, you know, awful lot of attrition and people pushing and shoving. And, you know, racetrack got pretty dirty, so a lot of problems. But, you know, we just tried to maintain a good, patient day and try to put ourselves in a position to be here at the end and worked on the car, and it worked out for us.
Derek Cope and the Bobby Adelson team with a good finish today. Back upstairs.
All right, and Chevrolet now has won the 5 out of the last 6 TranSouth events. The average speed today was only 111 miles an hour, and here are the standings. We will also tell you that Bobby Labonte has been transported to a local hospital. They're going to x-ray his shoulder to see if there are any broken bones.
Jeff Bodine, all of his problems, had a good finish today. Elliott. And all the fellows you see here, folks, had troubles, serious troubles.
Yeah, some of them had some real serious trouble, but Labonte, the only driver to suffer any injury. But it has been an absolutely incredible TranSouth Financial 400 that was won here today by Sterling Marlin.
Poor Ricky Craven.
Yeah.
Had the distinction of finishing last today.
Well, we're going to Bristol, Tennessee next week. And coming up next here on ESPN is the Grand Prix of Brazil, the opener for the Formula One season for 1995 with Damon Hill on the pole for that race.
And for once, I was delighted to have the in-car radio communications today from Racing Electronics. They will talk to Darrell and Michael Waltrip and get their insight, which I knew would be very good. It always is.
And we see the fans milling around as the trucks begin to leave. One of the largest crowds, maybe the largest crowd ever for the spring race here at Darlington.
Next Sunday, we'll be on the air at 1 o'clock Eastern Time for the Food City 500 on a racetrack that always has a lot of excitement for us, Bristol International Raceway in Tennessee. So join us at 1 o'clock next Sunday afternoon for more NASCAR Winston Cup racing. For Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, Bill Weber, and Dr. Jerry Punch. This is Bob Jenkins. See you next week. So long, everyone.